Hello, welcome to From the Producer's Office. I'm James Clutton, Chief Executive and Director of Opera at Opera Holland Park. Today, my guest is...
Le Gateau Chocolat.
So good to have you here.
Thank you for
It's
having
really
me.
lovely to have you here.
It was really fun to be here.
Gato, let's go back to the beginning before when you were growing up, kid. What sort of music or theatre or anything were you listening to? What were the first thing you were aware of musically?
Oh, that's it. My parents loved, and our house was filled with music, and we had a record player. So it was everything from Dolly Parton to Tina Turner, Luther Vandross, Whitney Houston, Ladysmith, Black and Bazo.
Can we come round? Can we go around there now? That's great. Yeah, that's great. Let's go.
All of it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was informed by such an eclectic range of artists. And then and my dad in particular just had some records that were purely instrumental and some classical music. And so those seeds were planted really early on from like 3, 4.
Wow.
I just know that, and because when I got older, I'd be like, I feel like I know this piece. And it's all down to my parents. They were just, music that we had playing in the background.
Fantastic. I know it's a big thing. I had the same, but with mostly different artists. But my mum and dad were Elvis, Sinatra, the Beatles, and all that. And I just went across. Ella Fitzgerald was big in our house. Miles Davis is still probably my favorite artist now.
Yeah.
But it's having all of those things early on. And there's a lovely writer called B. Wilson who wrote. She's a food writer, and she wrote a book called First Bite, I think it's called. And she argues that as a kid, you got a couple of years where you can be fed anything, and you can like it.
Yes.
Because it's that, but after that you go, I don't like
And
that.
then your taste develops, absolutely.
So that was really interesting. So, and then when you started becoming a teenager, what did you start choosing for yourself once you'd got...
Mostly musicals. I remember Grease, Sound of Music, Xanadu, Funny Girl, Yentl, Fiddler on the Roof, Camelot.
Streisand's brilliant in
Streisand's
Yentl,
incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
In all of
incredible.
those, actually, yeah.
And I believe she has an album that's like her doing some leader, which is really,
Right.
yeah,
don't
really.
know that,
And so it's so brilliant that I had all these people because some of them also push themselves genre-wise.
Yeah.
Like you'd hear them doing things that you would normally not expect. And so, yeah, that just sort of informed my musical palette as I reached my teenage years, and because I grew up in Nigeria and then I moved back here.
And how
when
did
I was
that
16.
connect with people of your own age? What were they listening to? Was that very different from what they were listening to?
Very different. Oh my God. I remember my roommate in boarding school was listening to Garbage.
Yeah.
I can't even remember the song of theirs, but I was like, what is that? But also that introduced me to rock. That's how I sort of fell in love with Meatloaf, and I fell in love with Bon Jovi and Aerosmith. And so I've got all that side as well. And then like Kate Bush, and growing up in Nigeria.
Talk to me about Kate
Kate
Bush. She's the
Bush.
best. She's the best. She is the best.
Obsessed with Kate Bush.
Yeah.
Growing up in Nigeria, every Sunday we still had Dr. Fox top 40. And so I got exposed to David Bowie and Annie Lennox with Why and No More I Love Yous. And so, yeah, my musical tastes have always been...
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You picked some of my favorites there. Bowie's another big hero of mine.
Extraordinary artist.
I wish I'd have met him, because I think he would have been a good hero to have met, I think.
Yeah.
I think it would have been good.
Don't meet some of your heroes, though.
No, I've met Paul McCartney a couple of times. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Maybe 5 times I met him, and he's been good. And he does this wonderful thing where I've since learned that this is a trick, which I do a little bit, might be giving it away, but he always says to everyone, "Nice to see you again," and because then people think, "I've never met him," but he's confused because he meets so many people.
Yeah.
And if they have met him, they go, "What a memory!
Okay.
What a memory!" So it was very good, actually.
Speaking of Paul McCartney, another film in my childhood which came out of nowhere, 2 films actually, The Snowman and Yellow Submarine. I was absolutely obsessed with that film because it made no sense. It was so psychedelic, and I thought, well, that's brilliant. That is like, is it a cartoon? Is it a film? Is it what a? But that was what made it really delicious.
It's a great one, isn't it?
It's so great.
It's great, yeah. And so then going on, when did you first start thinking, do you know, I could do this as a job? Entertainment, performer, whatever.
Well, the thing is, being a British Nigerian means that I went to university after A-level and I studied law. And but I was pretty certain I wasn't going to do law, even though I did complete my degree. But so it was from like 16 that I started exploring what am I be like to sing, and I had singing lessons for the first time from like 16, 17, and then my voice completely changed. And I'd been singing in the choir. I'd been singing choir through my primary school days and my secondary school. And then I met a singing teacher, Jackie Marsh, and she was like, "Oh, I think you can sing." And I was like, "Yeah, that's the money I'm paying you for the lessons. That's just to keep me coming back."
Yeah, exactly.
And so then that exposed me to music that I absolutely hated doing. Vaughan Williams, Silent Noon, and Andy Music by Schubert. I'm like, and they just putting me in competitions. All that music, though, what's so great is I absolutely love that music now, because my palette has changed. You know, I can love that as well as Bon Jovi, and all of that just meant I started looking at artists performing those songs, and that's how I discovered Jesse Norman, Leontine Price, Barbara Hendricks, Shirley Verrett, Grace Bunbury. And so
some of the absolute greats.
Some of the absolute greats. You know, somebody plants a seed and years later it flourishes, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, great.
I discovered all these wonderful artists.
And through that then, because obviously, well, I haven't mentioned this yet, but people listening to this will know you're coming to work for us upon part this year Analysis Adventures in Wonderland.
Indeed.
But we're certainly not the first opera company you've worked for. You've worked for many, and once again, some of the biggest companies in the world. So can you talk to us a bit about some of the companies you've worked for? So
I did Threepenny Opera at the National with Rufus Norris. I just toured with the Australian Chamber Orchestra for their 50th anniversary, and their conductor and artist director, Richard Tognetti, has got a Stradivarius. Is that what they're called?
It certainly is, yeah.
I was like, that instrument is $12 million. Oh my God. I'm like mind-blowing. Insane. Also...
Not something you want to leave on the table, is it? You know?
Oh no, $12 million. So that was fun. Tannhäuser in Bayreuth, Imago Glyndebourne, Jocelyn Pook at the Limbri with Ingerland, Varjak again, Roller Park.
Go back to Bayreuth, because that's a massive, massive festival, isn't it? What were you doing there?
I was doing Tannhäuser with a director who I've now been working with since 2015. So he came up to Edinburgh, and I was doing my solo show called Black, which is a meditation on depression. And I actually opened that show with Die Steuerhalle, which is Elizabeth's aria. And it was like, hey, so I'm thinking about doing Tannhäuser for Bayreuth, and I'm going to build this design. And over the next 2 years, I was like, okay. And then he pitched it to the house, and the house said yes. The most extraordinary experience, because I got to be part of Lisa Davidson's launch in Stratospheric Horizon. She's now a dear friend. Same thing with Katerina Gurbanova, a tenor called Stephen Gould, who's no longer with us. But my God, an actual held and heroic tenor. Like, they were making sounds that was, I was like, wait, what? I mean, the Tannhäuser Bayreuth experience didn't start well, because on opening night I got food and I wrote about it. And it went viral, and there was lots of racist attack attached to that. And the thing is, in Bayreuth, the only other black singer that they had was in '69, I believe, which is Grace Bunbury in the same opera. And on stage, including the orchestra, we're talking 132 people on stage, about 100 people in the pit, and I'm still the only black person in the cast. And so you think that by 2019, the conversation would have moved a lot further on than it had, but it hadn't. But I go where some of sometimes really disparate parts, and do I know if we were around time and I knew about it, would I not go? Would I not have done it? And I think I'm not sure that I would, because you can only become or be what you see. And I think to be as queer and as black as I am and was and remain in an opera that was broadcast globally, just sort of shifts perception.
But that's a shocking story, but you started that by saying it started badly, but so obviously at some level you turned that round.
Oh yes, so it's supposed to, it was 2019 and was supposed to go on for 5 years. We're still doing it. Like there's another performance next year, and I'm like, oh my God, just let it go. But is the most successful piece that they've done, critically acclaimed, and it's so fascinating to me that opera is a high art form, but at the opera is one of the only institutions where people can express their dissent by booing. And you're like, guys, this is exactly what people do in the football. And you look down on footballers, but this is exactly what you're doing. And I'm like, grow up. Just because something is not to your taste.
I hate it. I won't go into it on here, because I had one of these in person this week with someone who told me something about one of my shows, which I just fundamentally disagreed with, and it went on a bit. But
whatever.
Yeah, it's a strange one, but I think that, but you mentioned about depression generally, but conquering that, because that's obviously I can't imagine what that would have been like. But coming off and then having to go on for the second show.
Oh my God, it was. It was 6 shows.
That's a massive ask to do.
And it was. That first season, it was all through 2019, and then it was going on in 2020, and the director did his Fidelio here at the Royal Opera House, and we met up, and I was like, so I don't think I'm coming back. Yes. And he was like, wait, what? And then I showed him all the reasons why I got, because it's a barrage of emails. I mean, at the height of this, someone literally doxed me on Twitter, like found my address and put it online because they were so incensed. And I'm like,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous thing. But since from 2020 and the years after, I don't know that you need to go through tribulations to find yourself, but it does steel you. Yeah, you have to have the mettle to go back on. As you said, performance 2.
Performance 2 is always bad for anyone, for any review if it's been bad. But that sort of personal stuff is awful. I mean, I think also that you said about opera being high art there, which of course it is, and I love it. And it's for me, it's the greatest of them all because it's a bit of everything.
Absolutely.
But also, I sort of rebel against it in some ways because I didn't come from an opera background. We didn't have opera in my house at all. But I think that my thing has always been, and we've talked about this privately, the storytelling's the big thing.
Yeah.
Storytelling is it.
Yeah.
Because even when people don't like shows, often it's because we haven't told the story well enough. Yeah. And you've been a storyteller in various guises all your life.
Yeah,
so, I think that, isn't that the thing? It's not about if it's opera or is this, or it's we go on stage or produce to give a story to other people.
Absolutely. And I think if you were looking at me through a lens and thinking drag, for me, drag isn't about female impersonation. It's always been about being chameleonic. And that is why I've been able to say yes to all these things that have given me such extraordinary experiences, from Emma Rice's 12th Night at the Globe to Basement Jacks at the Barbican with the Metropole Orchestra. So a show called, for the ENO and the Gate, called Effigies of Wickedness, Songs Banned by the Nazis, which looked at Weimar. I say yes. And being as chameleonic as I've been in my musical tastes and what I've had to do means that I have just finished my show in Wales, Spirituals, which is an ode to Kathleen Battle and Jessie Norman. I got back to London on Monday morning. I got the 6:14 train, and I came straight here to my first rehearsal in Alice in Wonderland. So you're like,
greatly appreciated.
I mean, but I find a lot of joy in the variety of not being boxed up or boxed in, or meeting or fitting your ideas of what you think I should be doing. Because I've never been able to.
Well, I think you're one of the artists with the most movement around between different genres and different things that I know. I mean, that's a trip, because opera itself, but a lot of performance arts are very pigeonholy.
Yeah.
Directors and companies, producers do like to pigeonhole people.
Yeah.
You've managed to sort of move around that constantly.
Most joyfully. I try to do a theatrical piece once every 12 to 18 months.
Right.
So when it was like Porgy and Bess, and then I had Regent's Park, and then I had some time off, and then it was Threepenny Opera, and then I had some time off, and then it was 1 week of Daddy in Sweet Charity, because they had a rotating Daddies in that. And then like this, and then the Australian Chamber Orchestra, and then just singing with the BBC Chamber Orchestra at the not the Roundhouse, at the Royal Albert Hall,
right.
Singing Walking in the Air. Again, we had to apply to Howard Shaw to change the key, because I was singing down there, we're walking in the air. And we're like, wait, what? Wait. The association with a high voice and me singing it down there as a bass was, people go, wait, what? But that's what I love. I love defying expectation or defying projection. What you think, I'm not what you think. I'll be whatever the hell I want to be.
It's fantastic. And that keeps you fresh as an artist?
It does. It has to keep you on your toes, you know. It keeps you... because my evolution continues. Saying yes means working with a director that you haven't worked before, or a company like Yours Opera Holland Park that you haven't worked before, to produce something that you may not do, that is a birth from the intersection of both our practices, you know? So,
So when we did first ask you about this, and Sarah Crabtree, who's one of the bosses at Welsh National Opera, who used to work with me, we commissioned Alice together. Yeah. And she just sent me a lovely message when we announced it, and saying that's a genius piece of casting when we announced you. So that was really nice, sort of cyclical thing. But with when we approached you, what did you think? 'Cause that's...
Well, so I have a dear friend, Melody Hornet, who's in this, and Melody and I, when my teacher was making me do all the Andy music and Schubert and Schumann, Wiedemann and all of that, Melody and I used to be in singing competitions, the Worthing Festival together.
Right.
And then we ended up doing Brighton Theatre Group, Amdram, and some Amdram opera. And so Melody is part of the company, and Melody texts me saying, hey, so someone at Opera Holland Park has just asked if you would consider doing The Caterpillar. She just gets to do a really fabulous song. And I was like, okay, so I've got Spirituals here. I've got the opera thing next week, and then I've got New Zealand the week. Can I make it happen? And then I was like, yeah, let's give it a go. And so Melody is a WhatsApp from Melody saying that I think someone is going to reach out to you about
it was nice.
About Caterpillar. And I was like, oh my, because I haven't spoken to Melody in forever. And so because the ask came from her initially, there was a heart.
So we were clever on that.
You were very clever.
We did our job. We did our job.
You did some digging.
We did do some
you did.
digging
And so the ask was it was a heartfelt invitation because it came from someone who I've known for like 20 years.
Yeah, and she's wonderful, Melody, and she's in this. So Alice is, as alluded to there, Alice is really important to me personally because I was one of the commissioners of it back in 2012. It's been performed about 150 times in various places, but we're taking it into our theatre this year for the first time. We're really excited about. Caterpillar mainly has one big number in other scenes, but a big number. I mean, it's a lovely song, isn't it?
It is a lovely song, and I think it's really extraordinarily memorialized by Keel, who is no longer with us, but like learning the music. I'm working with a repetitor, an extraordinary woman called Alison Devonish, and Alison was very good friends with Keel.
Yeah.
And so not only do I know the recording in such detail, it's kind of a point of reference now because when I came in for my fitting, parts of my costume were Keel's. And so there's this sort of like handing down of legacy that is really quite wonderful. But also it's very clear that it was crafted around his voice, for his voice, because he's a proper bass baritone, like all the way down to all the way up. And I'm like, hey, so I'm not gonna be up there. I'm gonna do down here. But it's been really fun exploring Will Todd's composition.
Yeah, it's an amazing piece because when he was writing that and we were producing it, we had a workshop week.
Right.
Back in the middle of 2012. And
2012, so he's 14 years old.
Yeah. And we were working, and I was talking about this yesterday. It was one of the most creative weeks of my life because we had a cast, 3 of whom are still in the cast now.
Right.
And we had the writers, Will and Maggie, and the director, Martin, and me, and Sarah in there. And we just workshopped it for a week, and we were tearing pages out. So that's not good. It was just so wonderful. And we came out at the end with the show. And it's really great. And, God bless Keel, but we think of him often.
Absolutely. And it's now cut, paste, bare, printed. It's... If you wanted to hear this music and you hear it in his voice, there's no better way to hear it. And so he's memorialized.
But I absolutely can't wait to hear you doing it because we had some music rehearsals this week and the team are very excited and I'm feeling pleased because when the team are excited, it means me and the production team have done a good job getting the right people.
Yeah, the first day, what was today? Wednesday? So 2 days ago, the first day. Doing my solo shows are really brilliant. I enjoy them. I get to excavate into what it is I want to share. Spirituals is a really difficult piece, important piece. As part of the blurb, it says, as a direct descendant of a slave, I'm looking at this music of my ancestry, and this depletes one's soul. Get to Monday, the first day of rehearsal, and the joy of communal singing, the joy of voices around you, the joy of bleeding, melding, harmonies, Dominic conducting the nuance, Fran on the piano. There is something really extraordinarily human by making sound, in making sound with your body, with other people. It's
wonderful,
it's a wonderful thing. So as much as I love my solo shows, I sometimes forget the joy of that. And, we've been through Voldemort's COVID, let's not mention that. And so to be able to come back to theatre and opera and do something together,
well,
it's a beautiful
thing.
It
sounds exciting, rehearsing upstairs at the moment, and I think we can't wait for this, Gateau. I'm so pleased you're with us. I'm so pleased you joined us today. And it's a nice kitchen you've got here. It's nice, It's great. It's great to have you here, and we can't wait to see you on stage at Holland Park.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Chocolat. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you.